Yes, people, welcome to the Man United Agenda. And this is a somber time for us. We just lost at home 1-0 to Crystal Palace. I'm joined by Bath Time and the wonderful Dora. And we're going to try and break down what are the real issues with this club. Well, let me just say, Liverpool just lost. They held on with 9 men, 8 field players for 20 minutes. Well done to them. They showed that fight, determination. I hate to big up Liverpool, but you have to give them credit. They held on, and just at the last minute, Tottenham scored a goal. But that's what you call real hard work and determination. And these are two factors that we don't really have at the moment. We lost at home today, 1-0 against Crystal Palace. We decided to let Spurs play Liverpool. I know you want to tune in and watch that sort of high quality game after our 3:00 performance, but we're here at 7:30 tonight, and I'm joined by the wonderful Bath Time and the beautiful Dora, and we're here to break down what went wrong and try and solve these problems and what's going on. Let's be Ten Hag and let's be the staff today and work out what the issues are. Let me just go for some comments quickly before we come to you two. Big up to Eddie Football Wolf. We'll go and check out his page and his show. Sorry. It's Eddie Football Waffle. He said, big up Man United Agenda. Someone has stolen Ten Hag's identity. I don't get this much regression with the team. Hit a like, everyone. Thank you very much. Big T's in the house. Thanks for joining us early for the watch along. Said, big up, Eddie. The only thing regression faster than us is the hairline having to watch this. Mine as well. Solo's in the house as well. He said, Mr. B, I think I kept saying we've gone backwards from last year. Ten Hag spent 400 million or almost, and dropping Sancho isn't the answer either. Big up to Jeff as well. He was helping out with the watch along. It's a disgrace, he says. Tottenham just scored, as we know, 98th minutes winner. Well done to them. Dora, you were great on She Devils today. Oh, Dora's doing overtime. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
That's from And Big T saying here, Ten Hag was schooled by an Egyptian mummy. That is what went wrong. Okay. Let's get into this, guys. Little intro. I'm not going to ask how was your day, because obviously we've all just watched the game, but just a quick summary before we get into it, like the team selection. How are you feeling? Have you been getting abuse from your friends and family? What's going on? Bath Time, start us off.
Yeah, I haven't really sort of looked at my phone or something. I phoned my dad, and he was very upset. And then I phoned my cousin, and he was extremely drunk. And then... and then I started going. I was so mad. I started doing like office work in the house for Monday just to distract myself from it. But Dora, what's going on over in Hrvatska?
Well, it's great. It's great. If you compare it to Manchester United playing and the weather there, it's magnificent. So I don't have anything to complain about. But yeah, I am quite mad. I'm angry and disappointed with the way we are playing, because this team on paper looks absolutely amazing. But my God, do we play like shit? And yeah, I'm not like, I cannot describe it better. We are playing like shit.
I just want to say big up to Eagle Eyed Nate from Eagle Eyed Podcast as well. They're Crystal Palace fan base and part of the community as well. And big up to Richard and all you guys from the channel. Obviously, they've come to gloat, and rightly so. Well done. Big up to Nate as well. You guys performed well today and deserved the win. Congratulations, Palace. Palace says box as well. And Big T saying, and knowing what we do now know, would rather have Onana and Haaland, or De Gea and Kane right now. I'm reading that wrong, but you can see where he's going with that. Onana and Haaland did rather have, says Box, and big up Solo as well. All right, that's the intro, guys. Let's get straight back into this. Just talk about the team selection. With the players' availability and what we had today, the only thing that stood out to me, really, was that Harry Maguire didn't start. We felt in our preview show that Harry Maguire would start based on his performance against Matata, the big centre forward the other day. We felt, well, I was saying especially, I just felt that Harry Maguire dealt with him physically, stopped him from playing. Every time he didn't really hardly got any touches. And we felt that Lindelof might not be able to do the same. He might get bullied a bit. and Lindelof started today, and it was Amrabat with the usual at left back, Varane and Dalot at centre back, and then we had Mason Mount back in the side, Rashford back in the side, because we had a show midweek, Dora, as you know, about Rashford and Bruno, whether they're good enough, whether they deserve to be playing, and Palestri started, and obviously Bruno as well. So, guys, start with you, Dora. What do you think about the team selection? Is there anything else you would have done differently to get a better result today with what we had available?
Well, it was expected, right? On the paper, this is our more. I think this is our strongest team. If you look at only the nameplates, right? You have Mount, you have Bruno, you have Casemiro in the midfield. Pelistri is the only right winger that we have in the squad. Rashford is our supposed best player. So if you look at it with the way the injuries went on in United in the past few weeks, I think this was our best team with nameplates. It's an interesting point that you made about Maguire starting, because I thought that against Mateta, actually in the midweek or a few days ago, he actually did all right. And you know what? I am the biggest Maguire hater probably in the world, but I can give him props because we later saw how Lindelof was steamrolled a few times, not just a few times. I think throughout the whole game he was absolutely horrendous with his duels against the Crystal Palace players. So, but yeah, I think overall it was kind of expected. I think that Crystal Palace always would always, bite more for the Premier League game. I think Jordan Ayew also said it before the game that they are going to take this seriously.
Yeah.
And I mean, Roy Hodgson put in his best players, his best starting 11. Ten Hag did the same, and yeah, I mean, there aren't that many. Maybe I felt bad a bit for Hannibal Mejbri because he has been good for us. I'm not saying that he's been world class or anything. I think for what we needed against Burnley and against Crystal Palace and overall in the team, I think he provided it very well, and I felt bad for him in that sense.
Good shout, because Jeff's saying here Maguire and Hannibal should have started. And just before I come to bath time, DM Vlogs in the house saying another bad game. Big T saying here, did we simply suffer from Rashford and Bruno returning to the team, as many of us could see beforehand? This is what brought up the debate midweek. Rashford was Rashford, and other than one good fruitless shot, what did Bruno do? So the argument was after Tuesday, who needs Rashford, who needs Bruno? These guys play more of a team without them. That's what was said. Box is saying here, we suffered from Lindelof playing, as Dora was just saying there. I think we should have started with Hannibal and played Mount on the right. That's from DM Vlogs as well.
Yeah.
Big up to Jay United as well. And so what do you think about the team selection? And let's not talk about performance, just the selection with what we had available, what everyone sort of merited. Who merited the start today from your point of view, bath time?
I think with the opposition that we were going up against, I think that the selection was wrong. I would 100% have played Harry Maguire over Lindelof.
Why is that?
Jordan Ayew, okay. and Matiba. Like we talked about this in the preview about how terrified I was of Jordan Ayew in wide areas.
Agreed.
Like I would have actually played Amrabat at right back, and I'd have played Dalot at left back. And I was very surprised that change didn't happen in the second half. But with the team, I don't think there was any issue with the team. I personally might have played Martial over Højlund because I felt he performed well in his last match. But I didn't have any complaints. Hannibal, I don't think he can play 3 games in a week. Apart from that, I was all right with the team selection.
Okay. Anything else to add to that? I mean, are we going to make excuses and say we don't have the players' availability at the moment with so many fullbacks out, Dora? Do you think that's a big issue? Could that be an excuse to say why we struggle so much today?
I don't think that's an excuse. I don't think they were such a huge issue, right? I think the midfield and attack once again failed us. I think that we will talk about it further, but I don't think that was how do you say? Yes, it can be. It is a problem long term, but in this situation, in this context, especially after the game, I think this wasn't an issue.
So, Dora, I just want to ask you about the two youngsters, our star boys. Palestri was started today on the right-hand side. A lot of people in the comments were saying, especially during the watch-along, saying, why isn't Ganacho started? He started the first 2 games of the season. Then he seems to have been dropped down a pecking order, and Palestri seems to be getting games. He started against Bayern Munich, and he started today again. Would you have started Ganacho ahead of him? And where are you at with measuring up these two players, these two young players at the moment?
Well, what Bedtime said was correct. I think that Hannibal couldn't play 3 games in a row, especially in 1 week. However, during the game, we saw obviously that we lacked that energy, and I think that we lacked someone who is going to press. And frankly, who maybe Hannibal. My issue with Hannibal is that he isn't necessarily great on the ball, but he clicks for this team. I think that others have more freedom in the midfield, and I think he's like a bridge between. He's like a glorified Fred, I would say, but he's younger, and we like him more because he is a homegrown player. This is nothing against him. I think that Fred, at one point, he was very serviceable. Later, sometimes he wasn't, but I liked him, right? When it comes to Alejandro Garnacho, for this game, I wouldn't put him in front of Rasho. However, seeing what happened after, I mean, even his sub was quite late, in my opinion. I would sub him in at halftime because we played horrendously, especially on the wings. When it comes to Palestri, I agree with the commentator. Someone said that they would play Mount on the right and drop Palestri. I was hoping that would happen as well, because we will discuss it further, but I don't think that Bruno and Mount midfield will ever work. And we'll talk about it.
All right. So today we came up against Palace again. They probably didn't head back down to London after Tuesday. They probably stayed around in Manchester, training every day, focused on this game, and they've come our way with 3 points. Let's just talk about this. I mean, they started with Ward at right back, Anderson and Gahey. I pronounced that correctly, Gahey, and Mitchell at left back. Decore and Hughes in midfield. Hughes didn't start the other day, came on off the bench. He had Ayew as half-time, really sort of sees him as a good threat, and he was today. Ayew and Eze and Schlupp, pronouncing that correctly, Schlupp in midfield, and Mateta up front. Strong team, but beatable, I'd say. I just want to say, looking at the lineup and looking at the start of the game, I was very confident we're going to win, and we did say we were going to win, but the performance today wasn't good enough. Let's talk about the performance for half-time. Start with you now. In the first half, after 25 minutes, just get straight to that goal. Do you want to break it down, or do you want me to sort of summarise what happened there, how we got into that situation? Because we were dominating possession.
Well, I mean, we got in that situation because Jordan Ayew, who is he's a bit like Glenn Murray, if you remember that old Brighton player, is an absolute expert at winning free kicks. Yeah. And he attached himself to Amrabat all game. He got Amrabat to concede a free kick on the right-hand side. Amrabat kind of fell for it, to be honest. I felt he struggled a lot today defending that space. And then they just put a hit and hope in, really. It wasn't a good delivery. Hoyland should have cleared it. It went past 5 or 6 of our players, and Joachim Anderson, or whatever he's called, just hit a rocket into the corner. I couldn't believe what I saw. That was you go mad at your Sunday League team if the ball goes past 4 or 5 of your men. And once again, I don't like that Ten Hag doesn't put his strongest aerial threat at the near post. We've seen it with Rashford all last season. You need someone who is commanding of their space in that area. And I mean, it's just such a typical United thing to do, to just concede to set pieces. We lack with Lindelof, and then when Martinez comes back, and Amrabat, we lack proper duellers who can dominate an area. And this is why I wanted Maguire to start, because we've got Casemiro. He's good at winning his headers, but who else have we got in there who can really dominate? I mean, Varane maybe, but I'm not sure. So what do you think about that, Amondo?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, first of all, we had a lot of possession, and I think to myself, the only way Crystal Palace is going to score here is if we give the ball away on the counter and we haven't got an insurance at the back, and it very rarely happened. We always seem to have men in and around the ball. We did kind of press well, especially high at the pitch. But what Rashford got the ball wide, deep, that's almost near the corner flag, and played a square pass to Casemiro, and Casemiro got pinched very easily, and that's how it ended up with the ball going out wide. Amrabat went out wide by the corner flag to close down Ayew and got a bit too close. And I think, all right, yeah, good, get close to him, stop him from turning out. But he got close enough where he rode a foul and called a foul. Very soft foul. I don't think it was a foul, but this is the kind of thing you use to your advantage. Got a little bit of pressure on your back. A man that's strong. I mean, I've seen him push off big 4 or 5 players coming. He can just ride them whenever he chooses to. But this time he decided to go to ground. And this is a ploy because they want free kicks in those areas. That's how they're going to get into the game. And by doing that, it's like, come on, don't foul. You always say on the pitch, don't you? Don't foul, stand up. But don't foul. And he did, got a bit too close, and it was given. And then clearly, I'm going to come to Dora on this as well, just to reiterate how pissed I am. If you're the centre-back or you're a defender, that's your house. It's like someone coming in your house and robbing you. They're allowed to sort of trespass, come through your house, and no one
Goldilocks.
You know, exactly. Eat your porridge and all that kind of stuff. It's disgusting. It is. It's disgusting. So the ball's played across the 6-yard box. You've got numbers in there, and not one person can head of the ball. First ball goes straight to their man. It's like, wow. And for me, I'm thinking, you've got to respect your home, you know? And I think players like Harry Maguire, as much as people rip him for certain things that he's not so good at, one thing he is good at is clearing his lines and we're clearing balls into that box. He takes pride in saying, this is my house, bam, I'm clearing this. No problems. And no one says nothing because you're supposed to do that as a centre-back. Not one of our guys got near the ball today. I know Haaland almost headed it free, but he was blindsided and then closed his eyes or something. And it's gone over to the back post where this Anderson, who's a good centre-back, licked it into the back of the net. Now, I'm vexed about that, Dora. Are you as fuming as me?
I mean, first of all, I was shocked that that goal even went in. It was an amazing goal. I think he would score this one and this kind of goal once. You scored this goal once in a few years, literally. It was a great strike. But once again, I don't know what you guys think about zonal defending. I really don't like it. Even during Ole days, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer days, these players never learn how to defend in the zone. This isn't like basketball game or whatever. Just man mark them, because this guy he had acres of space and he had 5 Manchester United players in front of him. No one blocked it. Lindelof, if he did one step, he would block it. But no, of course, we need to let him have his coffee, cigar, eat a whole branch in the mid. Yes, I mean literally the guy had a picnic in our box. As you said, no one respects it. No one respects their territorial, right? And I know it sounds crazy, but it is what it is, right? Also sack the set piece manager, because he's been absolutely atrocious since the day he came in. Ramsey, first of all, we concede non-stop from the set pieces. The other thing is we don't score from set pieces as well. So what is his purpose? He's stealing a living. What is the point of that guy there? I don't know his name. I know his last name is Ramsey. I forgot. I don't even care. So yeah, of course I was pissed off, because immediately I'm like, okay, so we have 80% of the possession. There is one single free kick, one single break, one single free kick, and we are conceding. And of course, we go into panic mode after that. And what happens? All of a sudden, this team starts to play, quote unquote. I'm not saying they started to play properly, because they didn't. They just started running more. And what did they do? Rashford made that one transfer. Højlund, who couldn't get to the ball properly. Where was that the whole game? Where were direct passes? Bruno was invisible in the first game. I forgot he played. So what is the point of, that whole setup if no one is feeding the balls to Højlund or wingers? I mean, Marcus Rashford was lost in translation. Literally, that guy is. I don't know what happened to him this season. Someone is saying that he broke up with his fiance or whatever, and it's bothering him. I don't care. You need to play football. Like, Once again, no tunnel vision, how do you say it? He's trying to dribble past three players.
Yeah.
When he wants to pass, he passes it to the wrong person. He's not pinpointing his passes.
Preach.
Bruno is invisible. Hoyland is running a lot, but I think even when he gets that one ball in 20 minutes, he fumbles it, unfortunately. And yeah, I think Pelistri kind of, as usual, he's great defensively. In my opinion, I think he's really good at that. I think he presses well, but he's not strong enough, nor he is technically, absolutely amazing to how do you say, beat his beat his defender. And you kind of get to the point where he crosses the ball into the box, no one is at the end of that ball. So what is it? So what is the? I'm curious, guys. I'm really curious. Maybe because I don't know what is our style of play anymore. I don't know what was the plan today, because it didn't work. We had 80% of possession. We didn't do anything with it. So what is the style of play? Can someone tell me, please? I don't think even Ten Hag can tell me what he was doing today.
Big up, great speech. UK Stranger saying, I like her. Talking to
Thank you.
Well said. Just going to go through a few comments quickly before we move on. The final ball every time was almost primary school level. That's from Box. Amrabat made a rash move on Ayew. Looked great when Ayew's fairly poor. Made him look great when he's fairly poor, he's saying. We did not dominate possession. Palace let us have possession. We walked in there into their trap and played their game. And that's from Big T. Interesting comment, that, and maybe true. Big up to Monday and Bath Time. And Dora, don't forget Dora, Stephanie. We don't keep a clean sheet when we struggle. We lack so much, says Box. Anthony is so poor as well, says Box. That's a player that's we're missing, and he's even poor as well, Box. Team selection wrong today, says Stephanie Griffiths. Too attacking, not enough grafters, and substitutions too little, too late. Galatasaray next week. We're not beating Galatasaray playing like that, says Big T. Luke Chapman said, my sister and brother-in-law gave me a birthday ticket for two tickets to see Northampton play on the November 11th at 3 p.m. You said this the other day, Luke. Thanks again. Hate zonal marking. Should we talk about the zonal marking? So here's the pointers here, because Dora brought this up. What's going wrong? Why? What kind of style are we playing? The zonal marking as well as a talking point, obviously, because we conceded that goal. What a poor game today. Like most others, what needs to be done is to turn things around for me. Is we need better coaches to improve the players and physically and mentally as well. Big up to Pranay. Guy had 10-course meal on our It's like Rice. Rice had a lot of time and space to score for Arsenal against us, and that sort of same area. Big T saying, Jeff, if the manager gives instructions and the players don't execute them repeatedly, at some point the manager has to change the players he is starting. Obviously, I like her. That's UK Strange. The manager failed to prepare the team for the start of the season, and now he is suffering. Rashford has tunnel vision from Pranay. Get him a hooker and let's move on. Jay saying here we were completely a different team with Rashford and Bruno on the field. Miles different compared to the cup game as well. And a couple more here. Ten Hag might need someone like Terry Venables as co-manager. Where is Terry Venables? I haven't seen him for years. Haaland double teamed all day long. Easy for them defenders. UK Strange saying young players need to start the next game. We need legs. Casemiro and Eriksen and others don't track back or close down teams. All right, so yeah, go to the performance Bath Time. A lot's been said. Dora said it as well. Zonal marking, and Dora's asked a key question. With all this, what is our ID? I mean, what's going on?
All right, yeah, there was quite a lot said there. I like zonal marking, but it has to be done properly, where you have blockers, and our blockers just are not. They're not good enough. We see this regularly with Eriksen in particular. They're not good enough at getting their shoulder in and things. But it's the people in their zones. We don't have enough physically dominant players to be able to clear their lines. Like the ones that we do have, everyone hates, like McTominay and Maguire. Those are the best at clearing the lines. Yeah. And if you think that we are bad at zonal marking, if we start going man to man, we're going to get absolutely killed. Like zonal marking is good because it gives you basically a running start, and with the blockers you try and stop the running start of the opposition players. There's a reason that every team has played zonal marking or a form of it for about 40 years. Like zonal marking is fine. It's more the players that we have got in the zones are the wrong. They're just the wrong players. You need your best header at the near post. Today we had Hoyland, who's got his eyes closed. Normally we have Rashford, who the man is ciego. The man's blind. Like when he tries to head the ball, just closes his eyes like that. That Sandra Bullock film, Bird Box, where like if you see the monster, you turn into a zombie. That's what it's like with Rashford. So I think that you're kind of right, Dora. Well, we need to go back to basics with our defending and get the best players in the best positions, and also I want a little bit more from Onana on dominating his box at corners. Like we've seen in the past, De Gea getting pinned in and all this sort of stuff. I want an aggressive cross catcher that means that they're targeting the back post as opposed to the near post, because all our weakest players appear to be on the near post. And what's more than that is that every bloody team is doing the same corner routine against us, where they play it short and then they play it back. Like, you watch any game, there's a corner that everyone is doing against us because the players on the near post are not switched on enough. They're not natural defenders, and they don't like Amonde, like this big territorial angry bear. Like, it'll kick the shit out of anything that's in that area. Like, that's what we need. We need that. Right. With the style of play and what he's trying to do, I think in the last couple of games I've seen what Ten Hag is trying to do, and I don't really like it with what he's doing. Am I allowed to use my pass map now, Amonde?
Of course you can. Go ahead.
All right. So here, this is a pass map from today's game with the first. I think this is up till the 61st minute. What you can see Ten Hag is doing here. If you look at Mount and Rashford, we're trying to break open the channel on our left-hand side. The channel is space between the full-back and the centre-back, and we're trying to rip that open and get Mount running in between and overloading it. The massive problem that we had today is that we did not use our width correctly, and the reason we didn't use our width correctly is look at Amrabat's position. Do you see where he is? Yeah?
Wait, yes, he is just below. No, just above Lindelof, yeah.
All right. Well, the first thing, Dora, when you look at this, that you should be seeing is that everyone is on the same line, which is criminal. But Amrabat needs to be nearer Casemiro because our plan is to cross from half spaces. We want Casemiro one side, Amrabat on the other. Today we used our width appallingly. Like Pellistri and Delot were putting crosses in that I know that excites everyone. Like crossing from the byline. Crossing from the byline isn't an efficient way to create goal-scoring chances. You need to be crossing from the half space, and there's no one doing it the way that we're set up, and it's because of Amrabat's positioning. He's much too outside. He's on the same line as Mount and Marcus. And the thing is that Bruno basically plays as a second striker. Bruno's got to come deeper in order to use that half space that Pellistri and Delot were making. This is what the plan is, Dora, is that Mount, Pellistri, Rashford and Delot stretch the back line, right? So there's lots of gaps. Because there's lots of gaps, we then get someone who's just a little bit beside them, like behind them, as it were. And then they cross from that half space position to those 3 or 4 players coming in. That is what Ten Hag wants to be playing. But because of the positioning of Amrabat and Bruno Fernandes today, there was no one in those half spaces in order to deliver the crosses. Here endeth my sermon on half spaces and pass maps. But just look at that. Most passes, Raphael Varane. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our weakest on the ball player is Rafa Varane.
Just
But
did everyone get to see the data there? It was a bit small for everyone there, but everyone able to zoom in and see that. I had to get close to the screen like that, but hopefully everyone got to see the data. Can you just put it up again, please, Bath time?
of course.
Yeah.
So I'll explain it quickly. Those are the positions that the players are in. The bigger the red dot is, the more amount of passes played, and the grey stuff is like every time you do a pass, you get a line. So the more grey there is, that shows like our passing network. And what you can see is because of Amrabat's position, we went down both wings, right, which is fine, but that's actually quite easy to defend because you need to move the block, and you move the block by trying to play through it, and then you pop it up on the outside. If you look at Brighton when we played against them, they were like pinballing it about in the centre, and then they'd release someone out in the wide areas. And this is what United are not doing. There's not enough men in the middle of the pitch.
Just to clarify, so you want to see Amrabat being in a position to play that half space cross?
Yeah. So that means
further up.
Not necessarily further up, but on the like horizontal line, he's got to be more to the right. So like that build-up shape that we always see, where we have three centre backs and then Casemiro, like a 3-1 diamond. Mm-hmm. There's no 3-1 diamond there today. Lindelof and Amrabat are on the same line. And if you're on the same line, that not only invites midfield pressing triggers, it means it's very, very difficult to progress the ball. So if you look at Delo, who received a lot of the ball and I thought did all right today, do you see he's on a diagonal to Rafa Varane?
Yeah.
If look at those four players all on a line, that is absolutely criminal. And then, like Crystal Palace didn't do it all the time, but we could have conceded a lot of goals transitions because Amrabat is in the wrong position. He's got to be more central.
Yeah,
like he didn't invert.
Yeah, that's his primary job, right? He needs to be an inverted fullback, quote unquote, right? Another midfielder to help the rest of them, and he didn't do it. I also noticed that today. Even this great graph is putting everything into perspective better. But if you look back at the game, like Amrabat is literally a fullback, even though he needs to be inverted, and to me that's insane. And that only says that that even maybe if Ten Hag is probably, as you said, probably wants to play like that, but none of the players are following his instructions. The other thing is also that you mentioned about the zone marking, right? We've been doing zonal marking for years, right? Especially I think I kind of noticed it during holidays because we started conceding more from set pieces. Or maybe I just, pinpointed, my brain registered those moments during holidays. Days. The same players are not, how do you say it? It seems like they are not progressing at all. Right, they are doing the same mistakes they did so many years ago. Right, Lindelof still doesn't know how to, as you said, Lindelof, who was also there, the rest of them, Dalot, or they still don't know how to, do that zonal marking. I'm not just pinpointing those two. I think the whole team needs to defend like a group, right? And they're not doing it. The same thing goes, with. What else? So many things. For example, Rashford as well. He's supposed to be this inverted striker that, he is supposed. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. Inverted strikers tend to be, they are trying to break the lines and they try to go one-on-one with the goalkeeper, right? So that means that they are mostly in the opposition box. They're not traditional wingers. They don't cross that much.
Oh.
And I don't think he's doing it. I think he's supposed to be that inverted striker that isn't, he's not capable of passing his player, first of all. Second of all, he cannot pass. And third, he's acting like a winger, and he's not a winger. We all know that. I mean, so what is going on there? And I'm so baffled by it. So can you maybe clear that
Before-
up for me from
before
your
we do-
perspective? Because I'm confused. I'm really
Before we
confused.
do, let's go for some comments because they're
Yeah,
firing
I'll just
in.
put this down.
Okay, so big up to DJ Smokey. He said absolute effing disgrace. He's swearing. Bex. He's also saying Ten Hag out, not next week, not tomorrow, but now. He's blaming the manager. Big up to Sigmund Judge, one of our favourites here on the show. He actually went to the game today. He said, I think it's the last trip to Old Trafford for a bit, lads. All in person. Losses so far for me this season. Only feeling solidarity to the fans at the moment. Not much of a connection to the club or the team. He's feeling deflated. So it's not going to help watching this show because we're just going in. Yeah, Box is getting a bit of love to Sigmund. He's saying, don't blame Sigmund. Big up to Pranay again. He's saying, I feel for the defenders. When the attack is poor, it doesn't help motivate the defenders to play their hearts out because they have no lead to protect and have to help score instead of that, and it adds extra pressure. Rajiji saying here, I was told by my secondary school PE teacher to keep my eyes open when I headed the ball. And we had headers on target today, or we should have had headers on target by Mount and Hoyland as well. Prone is saying here, facts bath time. It becomes a pattern for teams to practice that corner routine against us, as we mentioned earlier. Lit Talk, how you doing? Said bath time on Monday. Our goats. I'm a Capricorn. I know that. Just binge watched about 10 hours of your tactical content over on Rich Sports Channel. Huge fan of you both. That's brilliant to hear.
Thank you.
Big up to Lit Talk. Thank you very much. Rajiji again saying looks like a slice of pizza. He's talking about that the passing map. The pass map looks 10th place material, says Box. Gosh tactics. Says UK Strange. Yes, it's about tactics. Yes, bath time, tactics time with graphics. Wish Andrew Williams was here. He would just sign out, wouldn't he? He wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
Boss is smoking them funny Ten Hag bags again. Great perspective, says Pranay. Thank you. It's really scary what seeing our flaws laid out there, but suggests tweaks must be made to help us a lot. But we aren't, and we're adapting and evolving as well. Why would you set up for players to cross when Rashford is one of them, and you, the manager in brackets, wants Anthony to be in the other? The other makes absolutely no sense. What the manager is trying to do, gosh, or what are we saying here, will never work. UK Strange is saying here, all that space available, like 70% of the pitch, because he's seeing like everything congested in the full area. Big T saying here, so when the manager sees Amrabat not doing as he wants, what does he do about it? Nothing. Rajiji is saying here, I've just had a great thought. Maybe the players are acting like this because the Glazers don't want to sell. Maybe if they're in a relegation fight, the Glazers will sell. Don't know. Do the Glazers even know we got beat today? We don't know. Loads of comments coming in. But J United saying here, how many managers is it going to take until people finally realise our bang average players that cannot follow simple basic instructions? I blame the Glazers and the players, he's saying here. Stephanie saying Hodgson knew Amrabat would play left back again. Why did Ten Hag not put Delo at left back and Amrabat at right back? Big up Dora, missed you earlier. That's a thumbs up from Stephanie Griffiths to Dora.
Thank you.
Geordie, they got a win today. Let's take a moment to all laugh at Liverpool. Let's not. I think they held out really well against Spurs with 9 men. Sigmund saying here, yes, Jeff, been super busy. All right, London Film Festival. All right, stop showing off. And Cannibal, I've seen this on Cannibal. Casemiro missed Hannibal's protection today, he's saying there. And social media here, players are more interested in social media than football proper shit time to be a Man United fan. It does feel that way. Just going back, I just want to say it's great perspective, as someone was saying in the comments there. Just seeing, because like sometimes you go away with effing shit, and on most channels we'll be talking about being shit, get this guy out, whatever. But we want to sort of solve the problems, and I think what you're showing there with the passing map and with Amrabat's position and why we couldn't generate those crosses from the half spaces and why it seems so forced does sort of explain a lot to me as well, and it does sort of open my eyes to that as well. So big up to Bath Time for that, and to Dora as well for explaining about the zonal issue as well, because balls are coming across the 6-yard box and not being dealt with, and that's the criminal, don't you think, guys? So yeah, so where were we regards to the performance, and what were the issues were we tackling as well?
I think, Dora, were you talking about inverted like wingers and inverted strikers?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So the thing with like an inverted winger is that an inverted winger still has to provide width, or they're not a winger. So it means that their starting position is pretty much the same as a winger's. And I've just had a thought now where I wonder if Amrabat was on the same vertical as Lindelof and Rashford in order to cover Rashford's defensive work. I wonder if that might be something. But the point, kind of what you want to see with an inverted winger is you want to see them commit two players, which will be a central midfielder and a fullback. And what that means is that you then get space in the half space, where I know it's not exciting because we want wingers to dribble, but what you're really looking for them to do is tie up two people, knock it back to the half space, and someone to cross it in. Rashford, like, he had some issues with that today, which not all of them were of his own making. Where whilst he is when he is like sort of addressing his man to try and beat him, you'll see Mount making a run into the channel, trying to take the central midfielder away so that Rashford is one-on-one and can cut in. But sometimes that gets defended, and then you pop it off to someone. There was no one there today because Lindelof and Amrabat are not left-footed, and we suffered so much from having no left-footers in the team. I think we might have seen a different performance with Amrabat on the right-hand side, where he's able to make that cross from the half space, or even cover centre and then get Casemiro to make that right-sided half space cross. The plan behind the team is actually all right on paper. It's the execution that is really disappointing. Where when Eriksen's not in the team, we very rarely sort of nip play on either channel.
Good shout.
On either side. And there was something else. Oh, one thing I would like to say that I thought we did really, really well today was our pressing up the pitch.
Yes.
Mount will not be used as a right winger. Mount's been bought as a number 8 to use him and Bruno's aggression to man mark and to press. So I know everyone sort of wants to put Mount somewhere else, but he's gonna play as an interior. So I hope that might have explained something, Dora, but I don't know.
Yeah, but do you also think that Bruno and Mount can play together, because they kind of are similar to me in one sense? Like, they can press, they are really good with they're not really good on ball, in my opinion. I think that they are kind of wasteful. I don't know, maybe one individual more than the other, but do you see them playing well together in the future? That's my if Ten Hag obviously bought him to be a number 8, right? He couldn't get Frankie de Jong. He settled for Mason Mount, and he obviously likes him, right? So do you think that Bruno and Mount can play together in the same team?
Yeah, 100%. The plan is that in a football match, you tend to compress one side of the pitch, right? So all your play goes down the left or whatever. That means that the right-sided midfielder has huge running to do because they've got to get out and cover those spaces. If you have Mount left and Bruno right, it means that you can compact both sides of the pitch depending on where you're being led out, and still have the defensive cover of a runner, because they're both strong runners, and they're both they're both probably a little bit underrated in their defensive capabilities. But the issue with that is that you need someone next to Casemiro. So it's perfectly fine to play this way, but you need a fullback essentially to invert next to Casemiro to provide that protection in the centre. That when we see that happen, I think that we'll be in a better position to make judgments on if Bruno and Mount can play together. But one of the slight issues we have is that Bruno is drifting too much when he's the right-sided midfielder. I think if you swap Bruno and Mount around and put Bruno back to where Ollie played him as the left central midfielder, and we used to have that nice combination between Shaw, Rashford, Martial and Bruno, That's what I think we need back again, and have Mount on the right hand side, because Bruno's positioning, it's not quite disciplined enough to play the right-sided midfielder, which is why Hannibal Magebury has been so successful, is because he's played on the right and he's got the legs and the power to cover more ground, and he makes us look a lot better. So yeah, Dora, I think that they can both play together.
So a few comments here. Big T saying if Rashford has to be covered defensively and he is selfish offensively, why play him? DM Vlogs are saying here, lads and ladies, do you think we could play with Garnacho, Højlund and Anthony on Tuesday? Because we've got Galatasaray
Anthony.
at home. Big T is saying if you can't execute your plan, you have to change the plan. Simple things. If you aren't have bollocks, if you're uncool, they say. How do you pronounce this? Bath time?
Sipical?
Sipical? Sipical. Sorry for butchering your name. He says, damn, you're lost today. Yes, we did. He's clearly here to mock. UK Stranger saying here, you need a plan A, B, and C in football. We have nothing at the moment. Big T saying, once again, we're okay for 20 minutes. This is a recurring pattern. Play 20 minutes, then it all goes to pot. Typical is saying, I thought United was back last season. Where are you signing? Where are your signings of the season? Asking the question there. Again, he's saying, gotta go. My team just had a goalless draw against Clement. Put something. Big up to you guys. We are worse than last season, says UK Strange. Put Bruno where Ollie played him. Ollie could see better than Eric was saying then. And looks like the players, said DM Vlog, looks like the players feel if they haven't scored in the first 20 minutes, they're just going to give up. Jeff is saying here, I have to go, but glad Dora's back, added some class to the debacle.
Oh, thank you, Jeff.
I said, yes, Jeff. Did you say Jim?
Jeff. I said Jeff.
DM Vlog is saying, I've been saying for a while, Rashford needs to be given a 2-game rest at least, otherwise he won't be back at his best as well. And UK Strange is saying here, maybe Ten Hag should grow some hair. Across the pond, how you doing? Said, who was good today? I was mostly watching Arsenal, but listening to Man United. All right. Yeah, I think we're 40 minutes in. Let's just go through the team rating, and we've got a game coming up as well and see what's going on. So let's start with the defence. We start with Onana in goal. Could he have done anything with that shot?
I don't think so.
Half time?
No.
What about his performance? Do you guys, because as soon as we start losing, everyone in the comments is saying, oh, De Gea, bring him back. He's better. Are you happy with Onana? I mean, do you see what he's contributing, Dora, to the team?
I think he's great with his feet, but his fumbles. I know he's new to the league and all that, but I think that he is brought in a difficult situation because we don't have players to fit his style of play. I don't think this team can play from the back perfectly. Hence why his long balls and passes aren't effective when we are building up, and that's my biggest issue. Not necessarily with him, but with the way other players and coaches are setting the team up. I wish that he's, as Bad Time said, I wish he's more commanding of his box, because he's notoriously. Not notoriously, I think he's quite famous for that. He's always vocal, and he's a sweeper, so-called sweeper keeper. But yeah, and I would like for him to stop fumbling the shot-stopping opportunities. I know he's a great goalkeeper. I wish that we don't see those fumbles again.
Okay. So obviously the goal came from not clearing a free kick. Let's talk about the defence on the whole as a unit, because they are a unit. You had Dalot, Lindelof, Varane, and Amrabat. How would you score them today? As a unit, would they be happy? I mean, they conceded one goal, but with what we had, how do you think they performed, Dora and Bath?
I think our right-hand side was perfectly fine. Like, Varane is, like, all right, he can be a bit dodgy on the ball, and he gives it away from time to time, but I thought he played extremely well today. He... in the first 30 minutes, I thought he dealt well defending in wide areas. Same with Dalot. I've no problems with them. They kept the ball pretty well. I think that those two were good. Lindelof, he's too weak to be a centre back in the Premier League now. Yeah. I think is the issue. You look at him and he's like a Cadbury's cream egg. like
Why?
soft in the middle, like
Soft
fondue.
and creamy.
Yeah, like you know, like you know you can get at Lindelof, and he does have some good qualities,
Yeah.
but and then. And then Amrabat, like I didn't like his positioning, and I felt that he should have been moving the block more. Like every pass was going wide instead of looking to play off and around his pivot. I thought he had a pretty poor game today, Amrabat. But on the plus side, for the majority, they defended that high line pretty well. Like we got cut through maybe once or twice, but I think that's more to do with how poorly set up we are for transitional periods of play. I think that for the majority, they actually defended all right, and then they're just such a bunch of pillocks. They just switch off, like for one free kick. The thing that like Palace have been dreaming about all week is that free kick, and that the whole team goes to sleep. Wakes up 10 years later, like 28 days, just zombies running about. But yeah, like I think that like the right side I'd give a 6 to, and the left side I'd give a 5 to.
Yeah, I thought Dalot played really well today.
Yeah.
I respect to him. I mean, he did a few tricks in the
Oh,
final
yeah.
third to get a yard on the defender. Something Leicester struggled to do, something Rashford struggled to do, and whipped in crosses. I know you're saying we want crosses from your half space, but I think that's something that gave an opportunity.
Yeah.
For something. So I thought Dalot was really good in that respect, and he defended well. There's one time they were breaking through, and it was Dalot came across and showed some strength. And I do agree, physicality-wise, when you're looking at these guys, I mean, we were watching the Bayern Munich game the other day, and their French centre-back was just muscling up.
Upamecano.
Yeah, mashing him up, like no chance. Get off me, like a boy. And I see the same with Gay and Mitchell, strong as a rock. These guys, you have to beat them with intelligence. You can't beat them in duels because they're too strong for you. You either get stronger or you start playing triangles or get them lost in the Bermuda Triangle, something like that. Play better football around these guys to beat them, because I've come up against strong players before, and I thought, boy, I'm getting roughhoused here. You've got to find another way to beat them, and use your brain. And Rashford needs to stop that celebration because he's not getting nothing. He's not getting a sniff from these guys. Anyway,
Do you reckon he did it when he crashed the car?
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to midfield. We had Mount, Casemiro, Bruno as a unit. You could throw in Pellistri and Rashford as well. Let's do all four of them, or five of them actually. How did they perform today? I mean, we're supposed to be. What's their role for starters? What's their role? And did they perform their role? What we expected to do against a team that sat there and like closed up the lines, gave us no space to play in. These guys are supposed to be creating and doing things to open things up. Were they doing their job today, Dora?
No, simply no. I think Bruno had a few good passes into space. I think the best one, in my opinion, was when Pellistri couldn't get to it. I think that was a great.
Good
Yeah,
shout. Good shout.
that was a great chance, and I until that moment, that was by the end of the half. Until that moment, he didn't do anything, and it pains me because I like him, right? I think he is one of our best players, but today he's been invisible. I think Mount was pressing really well today. I think he was the brightest at one point out of those players you mentioned. But once again, I don't know what went wrong. I think, as Best Time said, right, him and Rashford clogged the same spaces and they couldn't, do their thing. And Pellistri, I think that, until Anthony comes back or we sign a better, stronger right winger, I don't think he will, be he's not a long-term solution for this club. I think he's. I like him. I think that he's crossing. He's more direct than Anthony, but I mean he's too small, and I know how that sounds. Anthony isn't bigger, but at least he is more. How do you say it? He's stronger. He's stronger, and he's like that. He's like a tiger, right? Pellistri is more mellow, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm curious to see Amad Diallo when he comes back. He will probably get a chance as well. I think it will be the same issue as him, but we will see. Casemiro. My problem with Casemiro today was that he was the sole creator. I don't think that's his forte. It's abysmal to see that he is trying to create something and he is dispossessing the ball every single time. I like him. I think he's world class on his day, but he cannot be a sole creator. Mount and Bruno Fernandes and other guys need to step up and create for us. Casemiro is not it. He is breaks up the play. He holds the line and he makes sure that opposing players don't. He's like a container, right? He is the real CDM. He can pass to Bruno, either Bruno, maybe two overlapping fullbacks and all that, but what he did today, it's not what he's supposed to do, and that's not his strength. So I would give it a 3 overall. I think it was quite poor from, I think there are some positives, but if you put everything together, it was quite poor, and hence why we couldn't score a goal today, amongst other things, right?
Brilliant. Mark, you want to add to that before we go on to the striker, the solo striker, which we're going to talk a little bit about Rashford and throw in Rashford with Haaland as well, because we're going to focus on those two towards the end. But just the midfield, what's their job today, and did they perform their job, what they're supposed to do against a side like Palace?
I actually thought I thought they played all right. The midfield, they were extremely good in their counter press, in terms of ball recovery. I felt that that mainly they were running off the ball. Mount in particular was attacking channels, which should create more space in the centre. And I felt he did that well. I was pleased with a lot of what I saw from Mount tonight. He is a little bit jittery, but it's nerves and things. Palestri, I think that Delot is a better right winger than Palestri now. Palestri defended the channel poorly when he was asked to. He didn't when you're I'm a slow player. And I know that when you're not when you don't have that pace advantage over someone, you have to commit players early. You got to make your opposition make it they don't even have a decision to make. They've got to commit to you. Yeah. Palestri goes in straight lines too much for my liking. I'm now on Team Garnacho, who I thought had a good game as well when he came on. But I think that Bruno probably played a bit better than people are giving him credit for. He was good in the press. He kept the ball well. He created quite a lot of chances for players, and they were paying special attention to him. So I have no real issues with Bruno's performance. And Rashford, I'm not sure what was going on with Rashford today. I've seen reports on social media, not just that the PGMOL have apologised to Liverpool for disallowing a goal that should have stood, which has cheered me up a little bit. But I felt that Rashford in the first 10 minutes, I know everyone thinks he's being selfish and stuff like that, but that's just, to be honest, that's just football. When the first 5 to 10 minutes of a game, you check out if you've got a physical advantage over another player. It's the first 10 minutes is always looking to see if you can dominate everyone, and so Rashford doing that, I don't have too much of a problem with. But I think he got a couple of knocks in the game and wasn't really sort of fit. Or for the anti-Rashford guys out there, maybe he didn't have the minerals for it today. He took a couple of punches, retreated into his shell. He used the ball okay. But I would want more from someone on 400k a week. Casemiro, I agree with Dora. I thought he played really well today. He did a couple of errors, particularly leading up to the free kick, which is very annoying. He got a very early yellow card that scared me as well. But he had very little help in the transitions. There's just not we're defending transitions with 4 people when we need to defend them with 5, so that Casemiro can jump the lines. But yeah, I thought that they were all right. I thought they worked hard enough. I felt that they looked after the ball well enough, and I felt that they created enough chances for us to win the game.
That's the midfield. Thank you, guys. So just talking about the striker, he's the golden boy. He's coming from Atalanta. There's a lot of expectation around him. He scored a goal. He had a goal disallowed, didn't he, early on when he first started? But he scored 1 goal now. I think it went to Bayern Munich, wasn't it? He scored. But what do you think, both of you now, what do you think about this striker going forward? Visualising to the future, Is he going to gel? Is he going to be the right sort of player? What's the difference between him and Martial? Are you still liking Martial over him with Martial's style of play? Receiving the ball, put a good first touch, rolling man, popping it off. Do you want to see more from that side of the game from Haaland? What do you think about his hold-up play? He's a big, strapping lad. Is he holding up against these big Premiership defenders well enough for you? Have we seen that rapid pace that we've heard about, getting in behind? What about his finishing in the box? A couple times timing his runs into the box, or is it just time to get used to him? What do you guys think about having a little assessment now? We've had a few weeks, so he's been there a couple of months now. But please, guys, you tell me what you think about this young man, because he's 20 years old and he's been thrown into the starting lineup and he hasn't yet clicked, delivered. It's tough. We had Ollie Watkins today. He's 28 years old, scoring a hat trick. He's big and strong, and he's a good runner off the ball, and he's playing in the side. He's been there for a few years, and that's the standard, I think. Do you think we're going to see the best of Haaland? I know it's too early to judge in a way, but from what you've seen so far, where can he improve? How can his teammates get the best out of him? Both of you guys, please.
That time, can you go first? I need to fetch a glass of water for a second.
Sure, yeah. Imagine if I said no. I like what I see. I like what I see from Højlund. He's a very different player to Martial, where he's a battering ram, where his job is to get us vertically up the pitch. So, that means there's more space in between the lines. Whereas Martial, I think he's at his best dropping deep and picking the ball up and sort of trying to glue things together. The issue with Højlund at the moment is because that's what Martial has done for so long, is that Bruno used to be the one that used to run into that space. But now having that physical presence there, I think that Bruno needs to look at himself and sort of understand that he's not going to crash the box as much as he used to. I think that Højlund's a raw player. He's got everything you need to be good. I mean, maybe in 2 seasons he'll have the experience to be able to score that goal where Mitchell cleared it off the line. But I think he holds the ball up. I think he goes too early with his runs. It reminds me a little bit of Donny van der Beek in the fact that they never let the space just cook, just sit there and simmer. He just sees the space and runs into it. And maybe that will come. But I think he's got every attribute you need to be a top player, and he's not struggling physically against anyone yet. I haven't seen it if he has.
Dora, are you back with your water?
Yes, I am. I agree. I think he is doing really well with guarding the ball. I know he needs some work because this is Premier League, and he will fight off really strong centre backs. I think his hold-up play is going to progress most definitely, and when he gets it right, I think he will be. It will be really hard for the opposing teams to play against him. I think he's really good. He needs to work on his on the ball skills as well. I think he has the potential. You could see a few times that he's quite good on the ball, trying to lay off passes. I think, as you mentioned, Omondi, I think he is quite similar to Anthony Martial, but he's bigger and more bulkier than Anthony Martial. I mean, he looks like it, right? He looks like it. And he's quite fast. I think he's willing to press much more than Martial back in the day when he was, one of our best players. But I like him. I think he will. He has future in this club. I think that he just needs to, gel with his teammates better. As Bedtime said, I think some of the players need to realize their roles a bit better. And I think he will. He has the potential to score 20 games a season. And you know what? At this point, I'm totally fine with it because we desperately need that.
Are you not happy with his build-up, with his hold-up play, Dora?
I think he needs a bit work, but I think overall it's okay. I think he is willing to do it at his young age. That's his game, right? He's trying to drop the lay off the pass and drop the shoulder and just run into space. But I think he's still a bit raw. but it will come good in the next months, years, or whatever. I have faith in him. I think he has great potential. Really, really good potential.
I was really impressed with some things he did today. Like there's this really geeky thing called La Nuestra, which is an Argentine style of football from the 1970s that I used to play. And if you think of Benzema in the sort of the classic Real Madrid team, what Højlund is really good at is he's really good at setting up a platform for third man runs. Like today, time and time again, there were combinations between him, Bruno, and Mount spreading the ball out to Rashford, and his ability to sort of run in on a support angle, so come in a diagonal and play a first time touch or like just chest it off, is that quality. I can't think of any player I've seen who is that young that has that understanding of the space around him. Like I'm not saying he's going to have as good a career or be as good a player, but I see a lot of Benzema in him, like in terms of how he uses the spaces.
I see. If you talk about similarities with him, his playing style, I would love him to become the new Alan Boxics. Left-footed, strong, drive, running.
Yes.
Forward. Yeah, that's how I visualize him being at his peak. He was a beast of a player, and he's also Croatian, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
unfortunately, I think we would win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have
similarities?
that. Yeah, I didn't have that pleasure to watch him in real life because I was just born in 1996.
Right.
But
Oh, wow.
yeah. But I mean, everyone is saying if he was fit for that 98 World Cup, we would win it.
Yeah.
At one point, he was one of the best strikers in the world. I watched his clips. He was an absolute beast. I would love Holland to be that kind of a player, that archetype. I absolutely love that shout out. Thank you, Monty. Thank you.
Yeah, great player. I mean, when he was playing for Juve, playing in Serie A, he was an absolute beast. He went to France to play football as well.
Yeah.
Suffered with injuries, but left-footed as well.
Yeah.
Tall, big, strong, same structure as this young man, Holland, for us. And I just see so many similarities with them two. I just think that's what you want to become, bro. Get the ball, drive it, man, and just cause mayhem when you're running forward. He's a powerful runner, Alan Boxic. What a great player he was. Go and check him out, guys. And big up to Croatian footballers. Just let people know who your who's on your profile picture there, Dora, please.
Well, the best left back, Croatian left back ever, Robert Jarni, Real Madrid player. He played for Hajduk Split. He signed for Coventry for 30 minutes, but
Yes,
went to Real Madrid. So yeah, he was the responsible one to score against Germany in 1998 World Cup. Absolutely amazing player. I think we absolutely, even today, we miss him, even though we have the likes of, Borna Sosa or Borna Barišić, and, we had over the years some kind of left backs. Robert Jarni is still the best left back. Yeah. I think that Robert Jarni is still our best left back that we ever had.
Sorry, I say Mikalovic. He's Serbian, but he did play for Yugoslavia. But Robert Jarni was so quick, wasn't he? He was rapid. Brilliant.
Great.
He's also a hero of Rich Sports' channel.
Oh, how come?
Because I have repeatedly brought up the Robert Jarni going to Coventry story over and over again. And to compare Barisic to Robert Jarni, come on, Dora.
Oh my God,
what are you talking about?
We call it here svetogrđe. It's a sin. It's a sin. Yeah. It's a sin. Really.
Talking about biblical things like sins and transgressions of the law. David saying here on Monday. I know you're probably tired of my negative comments. I'm not. I love you, David. About the manager, but Noah doing the Lord's work, trying to get people to see the truth. A flood is coming, and I think things are going to get worse. So, biblical bars there from our David. Guys, the jury's still out. Says Michael, big up to you. We're running out of time, running out of comments. Appreciate everyone who's put your comments in there, all up there. You can have a read if you go back. We'll be back on Monday at 9 o'clock. Sorry, Dora, it's been a pleasure having you on. You had a brace of appearances today on this week, haven't you? Really would love to see you again. You get so many positive comments from the guys in the comments as well about your knowledge, your poise, your ability, your wisdom, your beauty. We love you on this show.
Thank you, thank you for having me, and thank you for listening to my. This is like a therapy to me, and it's always great to talk about miseries of Manchester United with other people because they feel the same way as me. So yeah, thank you very much, and I love your analysis. I think both of you are absolutely amazing when it comes to analysis of
And
football
where
in
can we
general.
find you, Dora? Where can we find you usually?
I mean, you can find me on Twitter at Dora_MUFC, but I'm barely active. I'm anti young person because I'm not that much on the social media. But yeah, I lurk a lot. So yeah, you can hit me up there if you
You're on,
want.
is it She Devils or Devils United channel?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There, I was at Rich Sports. Shout out to Rich as well. So
Mm.
yeah, I've been in a few places. So yeah, you can catch me there.
So go and subscribe to Rich Sports and She Devils.
She
She
Devils
Devils.
United.
Yeah, go and
Yeah.
subscribe if you haven't already. Everyone knows them. They're a big channel. So enough respect to you guys. Bath time, fantastic with your passing map and great analysis today. Sort of opened my eyes to things, especially about Amrabat. That's something to look at as well. What are you doing for the rest of the evening, bath time?
I might make a video on channels in football.
Yeah.
I'm going to ignore the breaking news that I'm sure all of you are seeing that once again Sheikh Jassim has apparently is going to take over the club, according to Neil Curtis at the Sun. I'm
Okay.
just sick of that. And what else? Oh, I need to eat a potato. That's what I need to
But you've
do.
got
I've got
football in the morning, haven't you?
Yeah, I got football tomorrow, and I forgot to eat my carbs, so I'm going to be doing that.
I'm currently watching the kit, my dirty kit for the boys tomorrow. We've got our second home, well, we've got first home game, second game of the season, and hopefully we get a better result than last week. But I just want to forget about Man United today. It's been great wrapping it up here with you guys. I feel a bit better. At least we can visualize what the problems are, and hopefully the manager will watch this and fix them. We're out for now. Thank you guys. God bless, and have a lovely weekend. Good night.